Their work will be remembered as one of the greatest moments of this planet.
The rules that corporations invent for themselves, that we invented to work together, always felt weird for me. You know, like at the universe or the Big Brother. I always say like companies are like Big Brother's program, because people start to, you know, developing, how do I say, inner dramas. You know, like Big Brothers between each colleague. You know, like, and this office has these dynamics, and you could like hate each other, but at the end of the day, you learned how to cooperate. You know, like to connect or to feel sorry, even music that is hateful in a way. But you know, like what would you say about this? I don't know if you agree or not, but I really like the way you connect in a weird way again.
Yeah, we were filming season 1 in the middle of the pandemic, and so we were all navigating really new health and safety protocols in the literal world on our set. You know, the masks and we had these kind of, as actors, they looked like a dog has just come out of surgery. We were wearing these cones on our heads, and there were air scrubbers and all of these things that were in place to keep us all safe. Were very peculiar and new. In the meantime, we're performing these strange rituals inside of the Lumon company, and so there were some, you know, parallels to the ways that we were learning how to be together. And I think the most compelling part for me as a performer was when we would take the masks off and they would say action. We got to see each other's faces for like the first time all day, and the kind of connection and humanity that we got to share together, I think, added to that element of the warmth that you feel from between these characters.
We were all we had, you know, on that set. We really had to lean in and trust each other, trust that we were taking care of ourselves at home, trust that we were taking care of each other on set. And that also parallels with the story of these innies. That's, you know, they cannot interact with any other department. They are all they have. And in that way, they build their own sense of camaraderie and community and develop a language that they speak.
And a work family.
And a work family, yeah.
Like actors do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day.
I know you're still weighing whether to return to Lumon. But the Mark I've come to know is happy.
Hello, is anyone there? Is the board on? It's Marquez from Macro.
Do you both, now they're not the door factory anymore, feel lucky to be able to work in something that you don't want to forget for 8 hours?
I still work at the door factory.
Yeah. to compliment, you know.
Yeah. I feel like the luckiest person on earth, and I really do. I think it's a testament to how lucky I am that I don't find myself sort of on any level wishing for the severance procedure anymore. It's, you know, the whole thing came about because I was walking into work one day and wished I could jump ahead. And again, like I was grateful at the time for that job, and it was wonderful people there, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. And now I get to do exactly what I want to do with some of the most brilliant people on earth, many of whom I've idolized since I was a child. So that it's hard to imagine being any luckier than that.
Getting to work on Severance, you know, when I first read the script, I felt like, you know, if I end up getting to work on this and play this role, it will be the culmination of all these years I've been working at this. And all of that, at that point, it was almost 30 years I'd been working professionally as an actor. And so kind of felt like all of that time was just earning this moment and this opportunity to get this role, because it was obviously such a great role and exactly the kind of show that I wanted to be a part of. So yeah, I feel incredibly lucky.
Yeah, I think you are, you know, I really like how weird it is, and at the same time, so human.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty human in this sense. And talking about, you know, Severance, like I interviewed Patricia and not you both, but the other people in the first season, and we were talking about how sometimes I had this feeling when I watched that we hide ourselves from ourselves, like our inner severance to fit at a job or, at a relationship or everything, world, society. How do you feel about it? Like, do you connect with this idea? Because I connect a lot,
Yeah, I mean, I wrote the initial pilot while I was working a string of office jobs, and that was one of the main factors that bled into the show, was noticing the ways that I had to sort of flatten my personality or change my personality to sort of fit into those different places. And again, I was not very good at keeping a job before this one. Like, this is definitely the longest job I've ever had. So it was like I would go to a new place, and the question was always kind of, okay, who do I have to be here in order to fit in, and so it was a lot of that just made its way into the story naturally.
Yeah, and when we were first starting the show, it was really important to Ben and Dan and I, for Mark at least, for his innie and outie, to feel like the same guy, just sort of different sections or halves of the same guy. And yeah, like Dan said, I feel like you behave differently if you're at a party with a bunch of strangers rather than being, at your parents' house with people you've known your whole life. So it's almost like behaviorally, we all have a few different people we are. But as far as the really deep internal stuff, I think you're right. I think there are things we like to section off and hide from ourselves and not think about or not act on or whatever. So I think there is something deeper there that people connect with. I certainly do.
Okay, so we're not in trouble?
I don't think so. Milchick said we're famous.
All of us equally, or one of us is like the star?
Oh, guys, I was telling Dan and Aiden, and it's really true. I love the series. It's one of my favorite because from the very beginning, I connected so well with this feeling of weirdness that work, and job and this universe provoke. How do we have to perform, to fit or not, like I'm not being judged in, professional words. So how do you felt when you first read the script and you got in contact? Did you connect it to this?
I love that you connected to the weirdness. That's
I really did.
Great.
I really did.
I think everyone has a different connection to the show, but for sure there's an odd and wonderful quality to this office and to the world that Dan wrote that I definitely identified with and just delighted in reading the scripts and the human connection between the characters who are on really human journeys.
It's the weirdness that really drew me in.
Really?
And I'm not saying that because you said it, but it really was the strangeness of this world. It felt different, but felt very accessible. And the writing that Dan used to tell the story of this world just elevates it heavily. And I felt I knew these people in a way, but I also knew that there was so much more to be mined. And the mystery is also what drew me in.
Except the woman is Miss Casey.
So what are you going to do?
I gotta get her out of here.
Yeah, and also, how do we betray ourselves to keep a job sometimes? Sometimes, I think all the time, especially in big corporations, isn't it? Like, I know you were inspired by this job at the doors.
The door factory, yes, yes.
That's why there are a lot of doors in Severance.
I mean, yeah, that's the only reason that we put doors in the show.
We have more doors than any show on TV.
It's true, and you can quote us on that. I think that to your point, it's like sometimes, and not that I had to do this as much, but I know people who do things at work that they might not morally do in their personal lives, and they're able to sort of write it off as like, well, it's work, it's business. I go and I'm not serving my interests. I'm serving the interest of the company, and that allows me to do things that I wouldn't otherwise do. And I think that, you know, that it's just a very human thing. That's a dilemma that a lot of people have to weigh and deal with on their own. So I think that's part of the reason people find it relatable.
Mark, there'll be no honeymoon ending for you.